We have this from the New York Times. A district court judge in New Hampshire has blocked Trump's birthright citizenship order in a class action challenge. So this was filed by the ACLU, and they sought to create a class of people that was future people or current people born after February 20th and illegal immigrants as their class. So the judge ruled only existing infants are subject to this ruling, but that does mean infants in the entire country. Trump cannot enforce the ban on birthright citizenship for now. So he will likely appeal this. The interesting thing about it is that because of the way the Supreme Court ruled on district courts and class actions, Trump just needs to create a new class himself. So like make an executive order saying if anybody wants to register their child for register their birth, they need to have they each have to have a legal form of ID on them at the time of, and then what happens is, then they're going to be like, that's not fair. And then then ACLU will be like, anyone who doesn't have a legal form of ID is within our class. And then Trump could just keep doing it.
But this is the second case here where they have circumvented this Supreme Court ban on nationwide injunctions by deciding that it's all of a sudden a class action lawsuit. It's not like these infants or their parents signed on to the lawsuit. The judge brought them in by himself. So I don't really understand. Like, at what point is that? Is that actually allowed? Is that part going to be challenged as well? Because it seems like they're just using a loophole here. What am I missing?
I mean, I feel like
can't you do that with every single issue?
I feel like the administration should just totally ignore this judge because the Supreme Court's already decided.
No, the Supreme Court decided you need a class.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Yeah, all right.
So the ACLU created a class. The judge said this class is protected, and that class is all infants.
Well, I mean,
what's stopping you from doing that with everything?
Alito specified that this was a downstream effect, so the Supreme Court should step in and say
the Supreme Court said Trump could not enforce the ban for 30 days, specifically to create leeway for groups to challenge his executive order.
But how did they create a class?
So they file a class action and they list in their filing, our class is as such, and the judge says yes or no. The judge removed the unborn and adults from the class, creating a singular class of infants. I think it's specifically infants of undocumented parents is the class. And then he said, I rule from the bench, Trump can't do this.
They used this, I believe, last week, too, this same little loophole thing where they decided that all asylum seekers are a class as well. And so they should be allowed to go through the regular asylum process at the southern border again, after Trump made the executive order kind of shutting that entire thing down. So, I mean, but I don't know the legality of this. I'm assuming that the Trump administration is going to very quickly challenge these two cases. But it seems like, we're back where we started with we're essentially still facing nationwide injunctions under a different name. I mean, am I wrong? Am I missing something?
So the issue, there can be an injunction that affects the entire country so long it's not granting relief outside of the plaintiffs. So if it's a class action and the plaintiffs are nationwide, it affects them nationwide. I think that's fine. It creates this path where Trump can just create a bunch of new classes himself. So again, Trump could be like, so let me add to this. Actually, I was wrong. It's not just the children of undocumented, but also to those born to academics in the U.S. on student visas.
What?
Weird class, but sure. Anyway,
like a Chinese guy comes here and he's 23 on a school visa and he has a kid. The kid's an American citizen.
That's how it is right now, always.
That's so messed up.
It's ridiculous. So anyway, for Trump, he need only sign another executive order. Yeah. And he can do it any way he wants. Like I said, he could do that. You need to have a legal ID when you're registering the birth of your child. Otherwise, that's an illegal that's a void registration. And then basically the illegal immigrants are going to be like, we don't have those. And they're like, well, then we can't register the child. So then they can't claim he was born here. Then they're going to file and sue and say it's unconstitutional. You can't do this. And they're going to claim black people don't have IDs or something. And then Trump could just say, okay, he can line up 50 executive orders and say, I will see you all in court on this. Now, don't get me wrong. It's kind of messed up. He can do that. That's what Cuomo was basically doing in New York. He shut down all the churches. They sued. The court said, open the churches. And he went, sure. The churches are now are all hereby opened. And another executive order, slightly different. Can't go to church now. So he kept doing that. Trump could play the same game. He can then say after the IDs, he could say something like, you need proof of residency. That's it. And then they're going to be like, oh, we're going to sue. He could literally just make the same executive order again, and they're going to have to sue him. They were doing it with district court judges, and then it'll have to go to the Supreme Court again, and it would just tie everything up. And in the meantime, in this period, birthright citizenship is effectively stalled, as long as it keeps going.
Stalled in that it's not happening right now, or stalled in that
It would be it's stalled until, I don't know.
you mean
Trump wins or loses, I guess.
stalled as in kids are American citizens or they're not? They're not. So that's the law right now.
So right now, this injunction stops Trump from enforcing the registration of babies as U.S. citizens, effectively, of the children of non-citizens. So they've put this stay on specifically these kids, which is interesting because it's actually really interesting. Trump actually has a big victory here. I want to read this. Look, it says the decision applies nationwide to babies who would have been subject to the executive order, which included the children of undocumented parents and those born to academics. My question then is, what about the children born to a tourist? Is Trump still winning a bit on this?
Interesting.
Because tourists are documented. They're just here on temporary stay.
Green cards. People here on green cards also. Their kids are not citizens.
Right.
Well, I guess that is what that would indicate. The judge is just trying to pick away at the mountain.
So we're making steps forward here, is what you're saying.
I mean, little steps.
If that's the direction you're heading,
Very
it
small.
would be forward.
But yeah, I mean, the class stuff, that is what Alito was talking about when he.
Oh, whoa. Guys,
What?
I just never trust the New York Times. Never trust.
Noted.
So my understanding based on the New York Times reporting, and I always read a couple stories and then I choose my principal source. And so I had read, like CNN and NBC, and then I said, I'm going to go to the New York Times, got a better headline. I pulled up the actual statement from the ACLU. They may have just banned abortion.
Oh, tell me.
Future persons are a legal class, protected and deserving of representation before the courts.
Future persons.
It's in it.
ACLU can't make that decision.
No. It's in the court order. It says, in light of the above, this court grants the petitioner's motion and provisionally certifies the following class for the purpose of preliminary injunctive relief: all current and future persons who are born on or after February 2025. And then it goes on to add, where that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States, the person's father was not a U.S. citizen, or a lawful permanent resident at the time of said birth, or the person's mother's presence in the U.S. was lawful but temporary, and the person's father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time. They have just certified future persons as a class deserving of representation and injunctive relief. I should have just read the direct order. That's my fault. I apologize. Because this is what we've been talking about the whole time. This means every single pro-life group should right now be launching 20 different lawsuits.
Yep.
Everywhere they can in every single state. This judge just said future persons
Yeah, like kids that aren't even conceived yet
have a
That's what they're
legal
indicating.
right to representation.
Yep.
Holy.
The thing is, you can make something a law that doesn't make sense. This sounds like it doesn't make sense. Like if you said it is illegal for a human to fly straight up in the air 7,000 feet, you could pass that law. It would never happen. People don't fly straight up in the air 7,000 feet. So like, what's the point of that law? Same as this. They're not people. There are no future persons to become future persons. You understand?
Well, yeah, there are.
No, they're not future. They're nothing. There's nothing there. It doesn't become something.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
unless they're already conceived in the womb, there's no person to
that's the
make
point.
laws for.
That's the point.
They're saying people that aren't even conceived yet in that law. They're indicating that children that have yet to be born in 3 years from now, which means they're not in the womb at this point.
No, it's pretty specific. It says if it says right there, it's in the future persons who are born or after February 20th, 2025. It's very specific. It says right there.
Future persons that are born in 29.
On or after. So
On or after February 20th.
So if a kid's born in 2029, this law would still affect them, even though they haven't been conceived yet. Now they're not a future person right now.
They're literally saying someone who could be born 20 years from now. A future person means every conceivable human ever.
Yeah. Oh. Like robot. You want to talk about personhood? I think India gave dolphins or elephants personhood or something. Dolphins.
Yo, this is wild. All future persons is an infinite statement. A future person could refer to, like you just said, dolphins. Like if in the future personhood is granted to a dolphin.
Artificial intelligence. Personas.
Indeed. This is okay. So we had Will Chamberlain on when the Supreme Court issued this ruling. He's an actual lawyer, and we were talking about what does it mean that they argued for future persons? And he was like, I don't know that future persons can have legal standing. Wait, what? And I'm like, that's the class they're seeking that's the group they're seeking to form a class against or for. Future person, ignore all the weird semantic problems. What the ACLU meant is a baby in the womb. That's what they meant. I mean, I think they do literally mean someone who was conceived a year from now as well. But
Yeah, they're trying to sneak that in there.
they're basically saying a baby in the womb, not yet born, is a future person, and they have legal standing as a class to be represented according to this judge. This means any pro-life group should file with the exact same judge, or, citing this ruling, argue they would seek injunctive relief to block any abortion so long as this is in effect.
Like, is it illegal to kill a future person? That's the question.
The argument is simply this. If you can get injunctive relief granted to a future person for the issue of citizenship not yet received,
you better damn well be able to protect their life from...
Indeed, they're a future person, and you are protecting them from the termination of their life and the inhibition of their future personhood.
So are you saying? So are you going to the point where you can say that, okay, a class action lawsuit could be filed by Moms for Life or something like that, and that class is future persons who were born on or after February 20th of 2025. Is that what you're talking about? Like creating a class out of that with this same judge to block abortion?
Now, here's what's going to happen. This same judge is probably going to be a liberal, or just be like, no. And then we need this to happen right now. Every single pro-life group, tweet it out, share it. They need to be filing tomorrow to this same district judge in the same district, because he needs to then explain why in one instance he would allow legal standing as a class for future persons for illegal immigrants, but not for those about to be aborted. And then if you simultaneously have in both instances, I do not grant this as a class, then we get to ask the question, why is that? Or he just goes, okay. And then you say, all right, before you can abort a baby, the baby gets representation, and that person will represent them before a court.
You just having all the abortion, anti-abortion, pro-life activists saying, I need to legally protect my future child. My future makes no sense. It violates every norm of the abortion debate. It's so ridiculous, and it pokes a hole in this guy's argument. You cannot legally protect. I mean, you legally protect the unborn. You can do that, but they don't have
order granting class certification
rights. They don't
to
have legal
future
rights.
persons.
Like, they're not persons. You can't have a future person. That doesn't make any sense.
The unborn in the womb are future persons from a technical. I think
Unless they die, you never know. Like, they're a person when they're a person.
right, and that's always.
Yeah, you can't protect.
This is actually the issue that needs to be adjudicated in the 14th Amendment, which I've pulled up time and time again, and my belief is that abortion will be abolished because of the 14th Amendment.
I think it will too, but that's because they're going to put neural nets in the infants in the womb and be like, oh my God, they're smarter than I am.
Let me just read. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside, period. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, semicolon, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now, hold on. Read the first sentence for me, Ian.
All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside.
So what they've stated is that citizen is a word that means person who has been born or naturalized in the United States.
And was subject to the jurisdiction at the time.
Agreed. That would imply that persons are persons before being born.
All persons born. So, able to be born, you must have been a person to be born?
Because
or do you become a person once you're born?
Because here's the argument. You could theoretically argue that they're saying a person is a human being, and if you are a human being who was born or naturalized and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, you also qualify as a citizen. Well, then, if that's the argument you could take, maybe they will. I would also argue it's saying a person who is born implies you were a person before you were born, but that's neither here nor there. Take it if you want. It says, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property. The argument then becomes exactly what I just said. When do you become a person? It doesn't say in the 14th Amendment, you become a person upon birth. If that birth is in the United States, you are a citizen. It says persons born. It also says you can't deprive a person of life, liberty, or property. The question the Supreme Court needs to answer is, when does someone become a person?
Yeah.
I think they're going to say that they become a person because of this.
This is why the ACLU said future persons, because they were trying to avoid this. I think they can't, though. And I think they know it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because they said future person in their class, not unborn persons, because they knew what that would mean. The problem is, so long as future persons have legal standing as a class to be represented, to seek injunctive relief, anyone should be able to sue on behalf of a class, the unborn, seeking injunctive relief against their own termination. Now, the problem here is, if they say, no, the baby can be terminated, the argument is, why can future persons be granted injunctive relief on something that has not yet happened in one instance but not the other? I think the ACLU has walked themselves into a pit trap.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
You'd love to see it.
Screw the ACLU.
So I don't know if you guys know, but the U.S. Attorney Bill Essay, he's the
L.A.
The official attorney for the Central District of California. He just tweeted, the federal agents are executing a search warrant at this marijuana farm. Agents have already arrested multiple individuals for impeding this operation and will continue to make arrests. Don't interfere. You'll be arrested and charged with federal offenses. So like, this isn't just about illegals. This is about a search warrant on the marijuana farm because they believe that it's tied to cartels.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.